What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Raw Line Report. Today's guest had an amazing 2025 season. Please welcome the man they call Quint Beastwood, Quinton Eriya. What's up, Quint?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Before we even say anything about you, I want to congratulate your coach on such a fantastic season. The joke there is, guys, is Quint coached himself for this whole season, 5 shows. The worst placing was 3rd. All of the 4 shows were 2nd place. I was just blown away by the packages you brought to each show. I think it could have gone either way a couple of times, but yeah, just to reiterate to guys, Tampa Pro, 2nd place, Texas Pro, 3rd place, Italy Pro, 2nd place, Germany Pro, 2nd place, and Tsunami France, 2nd place again. And the same guy won both Tampa and Texas, and then the same guy won Italy and Germany. So yeah, it was a hell of a season. First of all, did you plan on going for that many shows over that long a span of time?
No. The plan was the first 2 shows, and then we just kind of see what happens. You know, you obviously work your ass off and you aim for the win, but you don't plan not to win. I just plan to do those shows together because they're like right beside each other. You know, 3-hour flight between Tampa and Texas. So between Dallas and Tampa. So whether I won Tampa, I was still going to do the Texas Pro.
Okay.
And then when I realized, okay, like it didn't look like I was going to win this, I'm like, I've got to keep going. I got to be better, and I got to focus on what's next.
I mean, how many? This is guest posing we're looking at here, but how many weeks? I can't remember the span of time. I think it was like about 12 weeks. You were in contest condition, something like that.
It's a good question. No, not 12 weeks. Maybe. Hold on. Let's think.
Yeah, I gotta see which show was when.
From Tampa was like beginning of August, and then the last one was like end of September. So I think 7 weeks.
Okay, that's still a long time to stay peaked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen a lot of people go downhill when they do that. Back-to-back shows over anything more than like 2 or 3 weeks. Holding that peak is very, very difficult. And I thought you were getting better and better.
Yeah, there was a period where I was. So, you know, I learned a lot from this year for sure.
Yeah, that's what I asked you because, you know, any coach, and you were your own coach, would take notes and learn things from each prep, say this worked out really well, this didn't work out that well. Let's do this again next time. Let's make sure we don't do that again. You don't have to go into crazy detail, but what are some general things that you learned about your body and peaking and all that over those 5 shows?
Oh, there's so much things that I learned. I've tried so many different things. Ultimately, I think the one takeaway was that I just need to monitor the off seasons. I need to handle my off seasons in a much different way than I have before. There's this old school mindset of just force feeding and getting at your heaviest, and you know it kind of makes sense because there's this whole saying where you can't carve a pebble, right? If you don't have anything to cut from, like you're not going to be any bigger. But I think there's a level to where having too much weight on you can be a detriment to your physique or to your prep because you're working so hard to get all that weight off, and it's going to take a lot longer for the skin to dry out. So I think, you know, if I can work harder in the off season in terms of the cardio and pushing the diet more, I can make the prep easier. So that way the amount of weight that I need to lose for the prep is much lower. So I come in fuller, more consistent. And I think that way, a lot less stress on the body because there's a lot less up and down, and I can maintain even more. So if I do an early show next year, I could win and then do the Olympia and I'll still be fresh.
Okay. So I'm curious, what was your heaviest off-season weight before you started this prep, and what was your weight? I'm sure you had different weights at each show, but like roughly what was your stage weight?
So the heaviest my weight ever got was 330 in past years. I think this past off season, where my weight actually stabilized was 320, 317 to 320-ish. So from 320, and then my average stage weight was 275 to 280.
Okay. Wow.
So I just felt like when the prep started, just getting that initial 20 some odd pounds off it just felt unnecessary. Like it was like a bit of a challenge. You get that 25 or that 20 pounds off, and then it's like you're still not even there, right? So you have to lose another 20 or potentially 25 pounds. So, you know, I want to completely remove that part of the process. That way, if I could only lose like 30, maybe even less would be ideal.
All right, so you don't have this wacky idea like some guys like, I'm going to get up to, like Samson. I think, isn't Samson going to go to 350 or 360 or something? Is that his plan?
Yeah, I mean, Samson he's different, man. Like he's able, like when he got to 330, because he's been at 330 several times, and like he would only, on average, he would compete around 300. So he was only losing like 30 pounds. Okay. So he's just much bigger than what I was. Yeah. But essentially he was not losing a lot of weight during the prep, right? So when he would come on stage, like when he won the Olympia, all those shows that led up to him like winning in the Olympia, like he was really full. He had a good balance of like his conditioning and his fullness. So I think one of the things that they do really well, or at least at that time, they did a really, really good job of like not losing too much and staying full and keeping all that tissue from the off season.
Yeah. So I mean, you were fuller at some of these shows, leaner at some of the shows. I mean, it's crazy. But I to ask you which look you like the best, can you nail it down out of those 5 shows?
Oh, it's tough to say, man. When I look at some of the pictures, I'm like, oh, this one wasn't as bad. Like sometimes, like I really hated the Texas look at first. It was okay, but I wasn't happy with it in the moment. Maybe the Germany show I liked the most against Earths.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I mean, like that was to me that was the closest because structurally, shape and structure. There are very few people that are beating you on shape and structure. Yeah. in the IFBB. You've got look at how much wider your clavicles are than Earths. Mm-hmm. Just if you look at a silhouette, you destroy Earths. I mean, I love Earths, but I'm talking about physiques.
Yeah.
And people think, and he wasn't like really outmassing you. I think he just had a little tighter condition. How close was it? Because the scorecards are never really an indication because someone can have a perfect score and it was still very close between first and second.
Yeah, they said it was close, but I mean, for me, it's like a loss is a loss. So whether it got knocked up the park or it was a 1-point decision, a loss is a loss, right? So I see where I can be better. I know how I could have been better, and just focus on what I can do to improve. But I think Earth looks great.
Yeah, I give you a lot of credit. I was watching some of your videos, and you don't hold any grudges or animosity toward people that beat you. You're happy for them because they worked as hard as how hard they had to work to get first place. Mm-hmm. And I like that attitude because we've all seen some people that lost even at the Olympia level that very, very salty, very, very bitter to the point where they were making almost slanderous posts about the people that beat them. I mean, I'm just so happy that you're not like that. It's I've never heard a shit talking word out of your mouth, to be honest.
Thank you. I mean, I think, I don't know, man. I'm a lot like my parents. My parents are they're not really very outspoken. They don't talk they never really talk crap. So I'm just not really much of a shit talker. And I understand.
Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? I lost him. No, there you are. Oh. Sorry, we lost you for a second.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Somebody probably called you on your phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do not disturb.
Airplane mode or something like that.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, you were just telling us how your parents raised you better than that. But you don't blame other people when you don't win, and you take accountability. And I don't even hear you ever complain about your places, especially second place. Sometimes you can make a case that you should have won, but I've never seen you go on Instagram or whatever and cry about it.
The thing is, it's not for me to like. I'm not a judge, and I think it's important that we all understand our roles. And my role is, I'm an athlete, and I'm someone that I'm in this position. I'm very fortunate to be in the position I'm in, to, you know, be able to inspire people mainly, and to be able to connect with so many people across the world. But yeah, like my job is to get in the gym, work my ass off, and bring the best physique possible that I can, you know, and I have to try and be as objective as possible throughout this process so that I can continue to get better. And I find people that are very resistant to the feedback and that are very resistant to, you know, opposing arguments. A lot of times they struggle to improve, you know. So for me, I have to take this and I use this as fuel to just get better and better. You know, I respect. Listen, until I get that first place, and even when I get that, I'm obviously going to respect their decision when they give it to me, right? But it's just a part of the game.
So you were trying to get to the Olympia, obviously almost made it. Had there still been a point system, which we got rid of a couple of years ago, you definitely would have been at the Olympia on points. Would you have wanted to go on points, or would you have wanted to go in only if you had a win?
I would have wanted to go on a win for sure. But, you know, I would have wanted to go on a win.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I was thinking, even if they got like a special invite, because they could have invited you, they could do whatever the hell they want. I don't think it would have been. Would you have wanted to go had you known like top 10 wasn't going to happen for you this year? Would you have gone just for the experience and to get that first time on the Olympia stage, or would you have waited to? You obviously you can't carry the qualification into the next year, but what would you have gone to the Olympia?
If for a special invite, no, I would have wanted to earn it like the right way. Okay. So yeah, I would have taken the time and just got better for next year.
Okay. All right. So this is something very, very cool. Most people are happy to just get a picture with Mr. Olympia, or maybe like he comments on their post one day. You went over to the UK. I think you stayed with him. I don't know if you stayed with him, but you trained with him. So first of all, how did this happen? How did you end up training for weeks on end with Mr. Olympia, Samson Dauda?
So Samson and Marlena, like, first of all, they're amazing people. They're very extremely generous, very selfless, and me and Samson have been friends for years, and I think he's been very supportive of me in my career, and he just wanted to see me get over the hump. And after the Tampa and Texas Pro, seeing how it went, I think he really he's like, man, I know, like, he has a formula that works very, very well. We've got a lot of similarities, you know, we're like similar body types.
Yeah.
And he has been in my position before where he's going from show to show, he's grinding it out. I mean, his was pretty crazy. He was in that hotel room doing what's that exercise called in the hotel room in Korea? So yeah, he remembers the grind, and we all remember his grind to get to where he was. And there was a certain point to where he just started leveling up like crazy, and everyone's wondering, like, what the heck is this guy doing? So, you know, for him to be Mr. Olympia, the defending Mr. Olympia, and be like, listen, I want to show this kid like how to get to where I'm at. It's it was like a dream come true. You know, I've always had a lot of respect for Samson. And it was a crazy experience, man. Like, him and his wife are just they're amazing.
So did you stay with him, or were you at like a hotel or a Airbnb or something?
Yeah, I stayed with them. I stayed with them for about 3 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, and the training style, I'm sure it's a little bit different from. Did you pick up some things with the training, either just techniques or intensity, something that you weren't previously doing?
So I'm like a couple weeks out from a show, and I just competed. So you got to keep in mind, I'm already like pretty depleted. Yeah. But from what I felt, even though I'm depleted, right? So I'm not really, maybe I'm not my strongest self in the moment, but what I felt there, whether it's because I was depleted or not, but his training is on another level. Like, it's just, I remember the arm days it felt like you feel like how you feel after a leg day after those arm days. And it just like having that feeling, like getting a feel for something was like really important, because now when you go home and you're doing your own workouts, you're like, okay, if I don't have that feeling, then I know I could be pushing this harder, right? Where you might think you're doing something to like your maximum capability, like with arms. But with arms training, I would normally focus more on volume, right?
Yeah.
And with him, like there was volume, but it was also heavy as fuck. So just balancing and trying to find that balance of like, okay, I can push this even heavier. But again, just knowing what that feels like and trying to mimic that feeling back home has been key.
Yeah, Jay, you made a good point. You're depleted. You're not building any muscle during these workouts.
No.
Obviously the motivation, the inspiration, it's a great experience, but a lot of us were speculating, man, wouldn't it be great if he could go back there in the off season and stay with Samson and Marlena for a month or two or whatever? That's when we would see some real benefits from it as far as increased tissue. Any plans?
Yeah, there was a loose plan, but it seems like it fell through. Like, I think, first of all, I've been traveling the world and my body's like pretty beat up. I need some time at home now. So the timeline just probably it might not work out the best for when I want to compete next year. So I'm not confident that this is going to happen this year, but I'm sure it'll happen in the future at some point. Like it could definitely happen again.
I mean, how much back and forth were you flying back to Canada, back and forth to UK over and over again?
So when I was in the UK, me and my girlfriend went from the UK to Italy, then from Italy to Germany. And then that was basically it. It was this 4 shows planned. Then after Germany happened and I came second, I'm like, fuck it, I'm doing France. So I went back home because the flight was booked. Honestly, the flights from Europe to Canada and back and forth are very expensive. So I'm like, I'm going to get on this flight. I'm going to get on this flight and get recalibrated. Then we went back to France. So it was it was a big, big decision. And then after that, I had a lot of work trips within the past couple months. So the travel only got more intense. But yeah, I'm back home now. So I'm happy to be back.
I bet. Yeah, I mean, how in total, how much time were you away from your actual home?
So, okay, I remember I calculated this somewhere before, but from I think it was almost like I was away for almost 2 months. For basically all of August, I was gone.
Oof.
And then 3 weeks. Yeah, all of August I was gone, and then like 2.5 or 3 weeks of September. And then October, I went away to Vegas for the Olympia, and then Japan at the end of the month.
Yeah. Do you have any dogs? Because I'm wondering who's watching these dogs.
I've got cats, so they're a lot easier to watch.
Can you leave cats like just with some food and water in a litter box for months if you had to?
Well, no. For a couple of days, you could, but there's like a lot of cool technology with self-cleaning litter box, self-clean or self-feeding. I don't even know how to say this. Where the food, it'll drop the food up with a timer, and then we also have a vacuum, like one of those robots, so it'll clean around the house. So we've got like this whole setup that works really well. But we also have our moms come in every now and then to check on the cats and give them that affection. That's the word I'm looking for.
I don't want to annoy all the people out there without pets by talking so much about this, but like my daughter has 2 Persian cats, and her and her husband, like, that's their big dilemma. If we go away, what about the cats? Anyway, moving on. Another thing everyone kept talking about, I doubt I was the first person to come up with the idea, but we know that Samson made that leap to the next level over a period of about 2 years. I think it was working with Milos Sarcev.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this conversation ever happened or popped into your head, but we're like, what if Quinton went out to Vegas for a month or two? And I know you're your own coach, but Milos is a hell of a trainer. I'm sure he's a very good coach too, but he's a killer trainer. Was there ever a discussion?
Yeah, me and Milos have spoken about like doing training before. Even we did a podcast before the Olympia, and we had intentions of setting something up, but once I got I got sick. I can't remember, but it fell through. But yeah, I've always wanted for years. I wanted to train with Milos, so at some point, that's also something that'll happen. Yeah. Like I've got big respect for Milos and his bodybuilding mind, and his training methodology is something that I have never actually put into practice. So, I'm always here to learn.
Are you committed to staying in the Toronto area, or like everyone else, are you going to end up in Vegas?
I have a lot of friends in Vegas, and there's opportunities there. But honestly, it's cool. I got some good friends there, but I don't know. For bodybuilding, it's better than Toronto. It is. I don't know. With all the travel, one of the things that I've taken away from going to all these different places is you go to Japan and they've got such a respect for their own country, and they're so proud of where they're from. And I'm like, you know what? With me chasing going somewhere else, I'm not really being proud of where I'm from. Where I'm from is pretty great. Like, I have a lot of perks over here. So, until an opportunity that's really, really hard to turn down comes my way, I'll probably be here for a while.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, there's no place like home, as Dorothy said, Wizard of Oz, and Vegas. I don't know how you are with heat. If you're not a fan of the heat, I understand we have this technology and air conditioning, but damn, I've been to Vegas at times when it was 120 degrees or more.
Yeah.
And that's just disgusting for a human being to have to deal with every day. I thought there were more pictures of Japan here, but yeah, it was there you are with Woody eating some sushi or something there.
Yeah, some sushi from 7-Eleven.
Was that your first time in Japan?
First time. Have you ever been?
No, it's a bucket list thing for me.
You should go, man. It's fascinating. They've got a really, the way their civilization operates is like it's absurd, like in a good way. They have 38 million people in the Tokyo region, and you could go downtown in Tokyo and you could drive through the downtown. It's not blocked up with traffic like New York, LA, or Toronto. It's actually, they've got an incredible subway system. So you can use the subways to get around the entire country of Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's so impressive. It's just, it's super clean. The people respect their country. They don't litter. There's no garbage anywhere. People, basically, you have garbage, you put it in your pocket, you take it back home with you. It's insane.
Man, I thought there was more in here, but guys, if you want to see, I know you put out 2 really good videos about your Japan trip. They're up right now on the YouTube channel, Quint Beastwood. So check those out.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're showing all the, it seems just so incredibly different from USA and Canada.
Yeah.
In a good way, like you said, in a good way. Like, I don't know if I'd want to live there, but I
wouldn't.
It wouldn't miss spending time. Here was some guest posing. This was just recently. So, how lean are you planning to stay in the off season? Because you are going to try to keep your weight down a little bit. So, are you going to be close to this, or how much heavier do you think you'll let yourself get?
I actually want to be leaner than this.
Wow.
For the entirety of the off season. I think this is like a good place to start. I do want to be leaner, like especially like around the glutes and hamstrings. But that's not going to be much of an issue, I don't think. The thing is, man, before I really pushed food where I wasn't comfortable, and I was going against what my body wanted, because it's like your stomach's already full, but you just keep eating because there's this mindset that this is what you need to do to grow. Yeah. But I would argue that when you get yourself to a place where your blood glucose is like on the higher side, like you lose that insulin sensitivity, and then you have to do things to try and like bring it down. You got to manipulate this and that, and there's like a constant load on your body because you're always digesting food. Now you're super heavy, so you're always like retaining, you're always inflamed essentially, right? So there's cons that come with pushing that size and that weight too much. And I think in this state with this condition, like, I mean, it might look lean, but I don't really think it's that lean.
Well, for off season, I mean, most guys would never get up there, and if anything, they got like the long bike shorts on, and they're still, this was not many guys could pull off posing trunks in off season shape. And I know it hasn't been that long since you competed. It's been about 6 weeks at this point, 8 weeks.
Yeah, so around there.
Yeah, so I mean, you haven't gone too crazy with the pigging out or anything, but your coach did the reverse diet thing with you. I keep joking, you're the coach. But yeah, I wanted to ask you, is it annoying when you hear all these armchair quarterbacks putting out there what they think you need to be doing differently? Like, Quint's not eating enough. He's not training hard enough. He needs to train with more barbells. He needs to use more gear. These are a lot of faceless, nameless trolls, but they're telling this guy who's placing second over and over again in IFBB Pro League open men's bodybuilding shows what he needs to do to get bigger.
I don't get upset with it. It's just, you just got to understand, like, opinions are like assholes and everybody has one. And sometimes they're good and a lot of times they're not. Yeah. It's just everybody thinks they have an idea, and there's within the industry, there's a lot of coaches that are like, man, I could help you. I could do this. It's like, man, you can't, like, it's like everybody thinks they have a clue, but they really don't. Like, it's not as simple as people think, and, from having the experience being around Samson, training together and seeing how he lives his life, this is a guy who has a very similar body type. So the feedback from someone like him is way more used. It's like there's literally no other person that I can think of within the fitness sphere or the bodybuilding sphere whose feedback would be as valid as Samson's. Or, I mean, Andrew's would, but I think me and Samson are more similar. So it's like basically anything that I hear from him is like priority over everything else, So a lot of people, they don't have the experience with people like me, And by people like me, I mean like tall, my kind of genetics, at this weight, whatever, and just getting people like me peeled. Like, a lot of people don't have that experience. So it's very easy to say, hey, work with this coach, or hey, do this, or just do this. Like, trust me, I've tried more things than people would probably think that I did.
Yeah. But it's hilarious because, just like you said, in the comments under the videos, I covered all those shows that you did. People are saying he needs to work with and fill in the blank, Aceto, Boss. And I'm like, why do you think it would be just that one particular guy that would be the key to taking Quinton up to this next level? They're all great coaches. I just don't know why people are fans of one particular coach, because none of them. I had Chris Tuttle and Justin Compton on the other night. We were talking about coaches. Nobody bats 1,000, not one. They all have their hits and misses with their clients, and no one has ever brought someone in, even someone like like Neil Hill and Flex Lewis. They were an incredibly successful coach-client team. Flex wasn't always full and shredded perfectly every time. Sometimes he was a little off on one of those areas. Yeah. So a coach isn't a miracle worker, and I mean, like, I wonder if you're actually damaging the coaching industry by your example of showing how well someone can do without a coach.
Mm-hmm. And just to put into perspective, I had no idea how this whole year was going to go going into it. I just basically was like, listen, I'm me, and I've been bodybuilding for a long time, and I've been in this industry. I've tried so many different things. I work with different coaches. Like, I worked with really, really good coaches, locally, like within Canada, and then obviously, Dorian and Matt. So it's just like, it's interesting. But I went into the year like not knowing how I was going to do it, and I just basically was like, listen, I'm just going to trust my gut, and I'm just going to go with the vibe, and I'm going to write everything down. Basically, I used a lot of what I already knew from the past working with other coaches, and I tried things that I thought might work. Sometimes they didn't, sometimes they did, and basically that's how I learned. Like, okay, this worked well, we'll keep doing this. Like, that didn't work so well for that show. Okay, we'll pull that out, do it a little differently. So got so much data, man, and going to this next show, I'm even more confident. And also, Nick is coaching himself now.
Yeah. That. I mean, is he committed to staying to keeping that arrangement with no coach up until the Arnold?
I mean, I don't even know if he's doing the Arnold. It wasn't confirmed to me. I didn't ask him about this.
Yeah,
but his condition is freaking crazy right now, and it's like he's so focused, man. And that's the thing. It's we've psyched ourselves up to make the process of self-coaching a lot harder than what it actually is. It's actually extremely simple, especially when you've been bodybuilding long enough, and especially when you've had the privilege of working with like a really, really good coach or really good coaches, where you know formulas that have worked for you and you can replicate them with minor tweaks, right? Or you can try something completely different. But honestly, it's not like only one thing is going to work. There's so many things that can work depending on how you do them, right? So it's I think the hardest part is just the peaking and just not getting too deep in your own head.
So who have you worked with? I know Dorian Hamilton, that was your coach for a while. Who else? I don't know if I'd even know all the names, but who else have you worked with over the years?
So Matt Jansen as well.
Yeah, that's right.
At the time, his reputation was he was one of the best at the time. Before in the amateurs, there's a coach in Canada. His name is Jason Green. That's what I turned pro with.
Okay.
I work with another coach. He's a popular coach in Canada. His name's Ammer. And then that was so basically 4 coaches in my career, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not a crazy amount of coaches for like a 10-year competition career, right? Like 2 in the amateurs, 2 in the pros. But for me, it's like that's still a lot of people. For me, I'd rather just work with one person my whole career. And once I realized, okay, this is starting to be more difficult than it is simple, because I feel like I'm hiring coaches and it's not their fault. I think they've done great jobs, or at least tried to at the times. Yeah. But you start to realize, okay, like they don't, I don't want to say it like that, but it's not that simple. Like they just, okay, this is the formula. They understand your body. You're going to be 100% on stage. It's not that simple, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to put the blame on somebody else, because it's like my body's just maybe not that easy to figure out. Mm-hmm. So I think it makes more sense to try and figure it out myself than to go to a new coach and go through that whole process, that induction process of getting them to understand my body, try things that work with other people that never work with me, try that, show up to the show, not be good, and then like give him another chance and give him another chance. And then, so it just feels like it's a big gamble for me. And I'd rather just do what I feel makes the most sense.
Yeah. I mean, you put it perfectly. It is a gamble. That's a typical prep is 16 weeks. That's a long time to be investing in somebody and just hoping, I'm sure they're all doing their best. I don't think any coach is not trying to bring an athlete in at their best, but like I said, they might be trying things that worked with other people that aren't going to work for you. And they might not figure that out until a few weeks out from the show. Like, we better stop eating this or using that because or maybe this is too much cardio or not enough cardio. And by that point, the damage might kind of be done. It might be too late for that show to be at your best. So yeah, you're the poster child for the success of coaching yourself. And I don't put this up to throw him under the bus, but Hollingshead is probably the poster boy for having a lot of coaches. But I think his idea is not so much that these are coaches. He just hires them to learn as much as he can from each person to gather information. So it's like every guy's like a college course toward his PhD in self-coaching. Mm-hmm. I think no matter what, he's really just coaching himself this whole time, just taking advice from these guys. And I don't think that's an awful approach if ultimately your goal is to coach yourself.
I mean, the thing is, like, ultimately is that you hire the coach. So for me, I don't have a problem with what he's doing, because if he feels he hired someone, he got what he needed from them, or he feels like there's something that's not aligning with him, then by all means, move on, do whatever. Like, I think it's his life. He can do whatever the heck he wants, right? But it's just that's how difficult it is. Like, it's a tough industry, Sometimes you might think you figured it out. You're going to figure it out with this coach, and then you don't. And then you go to this coach, and you're like, oh. So it's like I can understand it. I totally could.
Yeah. I mean, it's great that we have a coaching industry, and I think we have a lot of excellent coaches who do a fantastic job with their clients. But at the same time, it does bring this other element of difficulty, because now you have to, did I choose the right coach? Am I going to keep this coach? Back in the old days, the guys like Sean and Kevin and Dorian, they didn't have to worry about it because it wasn't an option. And now you're always second guessing and doubting. Most of the guys are like, is this, I hope this is the right coach. It's just something the old timers didn't have to even think about.
Somewhere along the way, things got overcomplicated. And I think there's still a lot of value that a lot of coaches bring to athletes. And I think in bodybuilding, there's always going to be a place for coaches. I am not anti-coach, but in some instances, you could be overcomplicated. I think when the culture of bodybuilding is, okay, you're doing this, you must hire a coach, I think that ideology is bad, because it's like you don't want to even try it yourself. Like there's nothing about, like, it's discouraged for people to do it on their own. And there's a lot of times that people did in the past couple of years and they were like way out of shape or something. And I personally don't really know how that happens. I think there's a couple of shows this year where I was like too flat because I pushed the conditioning so hard, and I would rather be in that position because I know that I worked hard enough to get there. Maybe I just didn't fill out enough for the show, but I would rather do that than show up on stage and just be like way out of shape, be like 6-8 weeks out, so
yeah.
So
you talk about the similarity to Samson. I do see it. I think you're very similar, both in the structure, shape, physique, to where Samson was like 2021, 2022, and then he made that leap. So that's what we're all hoping. You're 280 on stage. It's hilarious to call someone 280 not big enough, because that's 280 pounds of freaking lean muscle tissue on a human being. But I do feel, because like Samson, you have these long limbs. Andrew too. It's a lot of space to fill out. You're not these 5'4", no names. You're not these shorter guys. So what's the game plan moving forward? Because I honestly think, maybe you could be a little sharper, but I think it's just, I personally think a little more size. That's all you need. So what is the plan?
The plan is to follow through the off season and just keep improving. The last year's off season was focused on my training. Well, last year's off season wasn't like a proper off season. This was after the situation where things went really bad when I went on stage last year. And I honestly was on the fence whether I should compete again. So I spent a good amount of time not really, I was training because I enjoy training and I enjoy the lifestyle of bodybuilding, but I wasn't actually like focused, like this is the off season for several months last year. During that period, I was just doing whatever. So this year it's a lot different because I have the structure. I know exactly what I want to do. And the goal is obviously to keep myself lean, like as lean as I can without as lean as I can without like being in a deficit, right? Yeah. So just basically growing. Like I have this argument where, whether I have 8,000 calories a day and just 5,000, I'm still going to be growing the same amount of muscle. As long as my training performance is improving, it's good. I think the less fluff, the less inflammation that my body holds, I'm in a better spot. Because then you get to a point when you're so inflamed where now all of a sudden you can't squat because you're getting these crazy lower back pumps, right? So you just lost 4 reps on each set because your lower back's getting so pumped. So it's like, well, what's it worth then, right? Or you can't do any bent over movements, and now you're not going to grow the erectors as much because you can't get into that position, because every time you bend down, your back is on fire. So it's like trying to find the balance of like, okay, we're growing, we're in a surplus, we're pushing hard, the composition is good. So now we build all this new tissue in the off season, and then when it comes time to cut off, doing a lot less cardio than the year before, and the diet is a lot more chill. So you just gradually get it off. And the ideology behind this is when you get to that look on stage, you're going to maintain fullness a lot more because you didn't have to do so much to get there. So you don't have to do these crazy carb ups to stay full. You could just kind of coast into the show because you didn't have to kill yourself to get to that point. So that's where my mind is at. It's just, again, work harder in the off season, treat the off season more like a prep. And then that way when prep comes around, it gets better.
I'm so glad you really laid it out in detail and explained it, because I know there's a lot of people watching who are like, well, if you eat more, you're just going to grow more. No, there's a point. It's like if you took 10 times the amount of gear, you're not going to be 10 times bigger. if you eat 5,000 calories more than you need, how much of that you really think is going to go toward lean tissue, and how much is just going to be body fat? And like you said, man, every pound of body fat you add, it's going to have to come off eventually. And it's the more you have, if you have like 50, 60, 70 pounds, which I've seen guys lose that much weight in a prep, there's nobody that keeps all their size and fullness. I don't care how much gear you take, how hard you train. If you're dropping 60, 70 pounds over 12 to 16 week period, good luck, dude. Yeah.
No, exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
And I've been there several times.
All right. So this is I want to wind up by, I don't know if you have your 2026 plans yet, but roughly, do you have any idea when we're going to see you on stage again?
I'm not sure. Again, I'm taking things day by day. Like right now, I'm in that health phase, So I haven't like pushed the off season yet. So this is just still recovering from the competition. So yeah, I'm going on a vacation in a couple weeks, and then after that, then the off season begins. So yeah, I haven't really begun yet. So when that starts, I want to give myself a couple of months to put on some solid tissue, and I would love to jump into a prep and if I could do something around the timeline of the Toronto Pro or something in June, or not late May, but June to July, that would be ideal. So I just got to wait to see when the schedule comes out, see how my body's feeling when the new year comes around, and yeah, we'll make a game plan within the next like month or two.
Yeah, I kind of wondered when I saw you do Tampa, like, why didn't he do Toronto? I think was it too soon? It was like 4 weeks before that, maybe?
Yeah, so we had this crazy trip to Miami for my girlfriend's birthday and my training partner, his girlfriend's birthday. We're all good friends. So I forgot my training partner, Scott. He's been great. He's been a great training partner the past year. But yeah, so we went to Miami because their birthdays are like days apart. And yeah, so we went to Miami in end of March. Yeah, end of March. And yeah, it was like a vacation, right? Or the kind of vacation where you're out all the time being young and stupid. So that cut into the time for me to do a prep for Toronto. So basically I would have had to come back from the trip. And this is like, I was heavy in the 300. I was pretty fat. I was like 320-ish. Yeah. So I would have had to drop like 40 pounds in like 10 weeks. So I was like, you know what? Not this time.
Okay. So there's a strong likelihood we'll see you in Toronto. Let's say maybe like a 50-50 chance?
For now, I'd say 50-50. Yeah.
Okay. Because I didn't know if you had such a great experience at Tampa or Texas or any of these particular events where like, I got to go back. Because like Andrew went back to Texas how many times?
Yeah, I think 3 times. Oh, 4.
I think it was 4. 22, 23, 24. 25. No, maybe it was 3. Did he?
Yeah, but he didn't compete this year, but he was there.
He was there. He loves Freddie and Sheila. They're great promoters.
They're incredible promoters, and they're super nice people. So I would be honored to do their show again. Tim Gardner runs a great show. Like I had a great experience at most of the shows I did this year. Yeah. The Germany show, Germany, the experience there in Offenbach. Man, that was an incredible show. That was Dennis James' show. That show, the energy, the German fans. I love you guys. I love the German. The fans in France were outstanding. They were amazing as well. Like I love the French, man. They made me feel so good even when I fell short. Italy was a really cool show too. Like I would literally do every. I'd say. Yeah, every show. I would do every show I did this year. That's why it's hard, because when you connect with people, you make friends, and then you meet the promoters, and they run a really good show. You had a good time. You meet the fans. I'm like, man, like I want to do 10 shows this year. So it is going to be tough to like narrow it down when the schedule comes out.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also, you're making fans all around the world when you do that. You're a young guy. I got to point out, guys, he's 30 years old. It's when that's why I roll my eyes when people say, "Oh, his time, he needs to hurry up." And I'm like, no, he doesn't need to hurry up. He's 30. You guys know how you don't realize how young 30 is until you're like my age. I'm 56. 30 is very, very young. I know you've been around for a minute, but you're still so young in the game. And, you know, at one hand, people are like, well, I want to see him putting on 20, 30 pounds of muscle a year. I'm like, if he does that, he's not going to be around that long. Trust me. I've seen that movie and I know how it ends. A little gradual gains over time, just getting better and better and better, and taking the health phase and doing that. That's the key. Because Samson's I think he's turning 40 very soon, right?
Yeah, I think he's 39. I don't know when he turns 40, but he might be 39 or he's turning 40.
Yeah. So when Samson was your age, I don't think he even looked like a bodybuilder yet. So just to put it in perspective, guys.
Yeah.
You've got time, Quint. You've got time, and I think you're doing everything the right way.
Thank you.
So yeah, you know, you're inspiration to a lot of people. Just the coaching yourself thing is, you know, it's just so rare. Nick Walker now doing it too. It's refreshing because we can't get all the old people saying, these young guys, they're big babies. They need a babysitter, tell them when to take a shit and everything because they can't do anything on their own. Well, we got Quint doing it on his own. We got Nick Walker doing it on his own. Maybe a few more. Not to put coaches in a bad light. They do.
Yeah.
They're very good, but not everybody has to have a coach all the time. That's all we're saying. That's all. But yeah, congrats on the 2025 season. I watched every show, and you delivered a great package at every single show. It kind of broke my heart that you didn't win any of them because like maybe this time, you know. But you know, you're a warrior. You're going to keep going. You didn't cry about it once. You're doing the right thing, which is just go back to the drawing board and just get better. You know, that's all you can ever do is just keep getting better. So I'm very sure that's what we're going to see from you, Quint. So
thank you. Appreciate it.
So I thank you for taking the time. Glad you had a good time in Japan. Have a great vacation, and looking forward to checking out your progress on your Instagram there, on your YouTube channel, because he puts up a lot of great informative content, guys. He's very, very transparent with everything, puts it all out there. So check it out. And that's it, man. Thank you, Quint. Appreciate it so much. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Ron Line Report with Quinton Eriya.